Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In my last video we went to 1000 in chess puzzles, and in this video we are going to go to 1200 in chess puzzles. Okay, so as I said in my previous videos, the first thing we want to do when we're trying to solve a chess puzzle is to count up the material. So we have a queen, my opponent has a queen, we have a rook, the opponent has 2 rooks. So the opponent has 5 extra pieces, and then we each have 3 pawns, so those cancel each other out. So basically my opponent has an extra rook. So in order to win the puzzle, we need at least a rook and a pawn. Let's look for checks, captures, and attacks. So here's a check, and here's a check. And that looks like all the checks. So this check, we immediately lose the queen, so we're gonna look at this check first. So he goes here. He can't take my queen, so he can either block or run away. So let's see what happens if he blocks. If he blocks, I can simply take his queen, which is defended by the rook, so I just take his queen and it's checkmate. So let's see what happens if he runs away. If he goes here, I can just move my queen over and it's checkmate. And that is the only place he has to go. So it looks like we solved the puzzle. So I go here, and then I go here. Okay, once again, we're gonna count up all the pieces. So I have a queen, he has a queen, I have a bishop, and he has a rook. So remember, the rook is 5 points and the bishop is 3 points. So that means that he has 2 extra points, and then we're gonna count up the pawns. We each have 4 pawns, so those cancel each other out. Okay, in order to win the puzzle, we need at least a rook to win the puzzle. So it's at least 2 points, but as I've said in previous videos, you're gonna have a piece that he doesn't have at the end of the puzzle. So wait, so he's 2 points up. So instead of taking 3 pawns, it's more likely to be we take his rook. Checks, captures, and attacks. So let's look at all the checks. There's a check. There's a check. And that's all the checks. So let's look at this check. If he checks, he can't take my piece, so either has to block or run away. He could block here, and then I can't take it because he just takes back. And okay, and then I could go here to check. It's really the only other check we have, but then he could just go back. And then we could go over here and check. And then he could go here. And then we could go over here and check. He could go here. And so we've done a couple moves and we haven't really found the solution. So we're gonna look at the other check. So that was this check. So we're gonna look at this check now. He can't take my king. He can't take my queen. He can't block. And let's see, can he run away? He can't go here, here. Those are his pieces. He can't go here because the queen covers that. He can't go here because the queen and the bishop cover it. And he can't go here because the queen covers it. So it looks like that's a checkmate. And so it looks like that is the answer. Okay, once again, we're going to start off by counting up all the pieces. Okay, so we have a queen, he has a queen. We have 2 rooks, he has 2 rooks. We have 2 knights, he has 2 knights. We have a bishop, he has a bishop. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. So we have equal amount of material. So technically we just need 1 point to win, but most likely we either need the knight or the bishop to win, or any of his pieces. We could have his queen, or we could have his rook. Like I said, it's usually not a pawn. So let's start this puzzle. Okay, let's look at the checks. There's a check. And that looks like the only check. Okay, so if we check here, he takes us. And it doesn't look like we have a good follow-up check. So we're gonna move on to captures. So we could take his queen. Let's just look at where all the captures are, and then we'll look at one of them. Okay, we can take his queen. We can take his pawn. We could take his pawn this way. We could take his rook. Okay, so let's look at the queen capture first. So we take his queen. He's gonna have to take back, because otherwise he just loses the queen. So he takes back, and then we can take his bishop. And all we have to do is beat up 1 piece of material. So it looks like that's the answer. Let's see, can he take anything else of ours? Just to make sure, like, he could take our rook, but we can take back. Yeah, I don't see anything he could do after that, so I think we're going to try it. Oh, okay. Take back. Okay, so once again, we count up all of our pieces. So we have the queen. He has a queen. We have 2 rooks. He has 2 rooks. We have a knight. He has a knight. We have a bishop. He has a bishop. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. Okay, so he has 1 more pawn than us. So we need 2 points, or most likely a full piece, either the knight, the bishop, the rook, or the queen. Okay, so let's look for checks, captures, and attacks. So let's see. We've got, let's look at the checks first. Got this check. We've got this check. And we have this check. Okay. And we have this check. Okay, that looks like all of the checks. So let's see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 checks. So there's this check. This doesn't look like a very good check. He can just take my queen immediately, which usually isn't a good sign. But as we saw in one of the videos in the previous video, one of the solutions was giving up our queen immediately. So it doesn't mean it's always not the answer, but we're just gonna look at the other ones first. Okay. there's this check, which he can just immediately take. So we're going to move on. There's this check, which he can immediately take. And then there is this check, which he can also immediately take. All of these checks he can immediately take, but let's just look at this for a second, because he can take this, but then we can take his queen, and then he can take back, and then we have this check. So his rook is here, his pawn is here. We have this check, and we're forking the king and the rook. And in this position, there's nothing on this square. We traded queens. There's nothing on this square. There's nothing on this square. So yeah, this is one where you really have to visualize it, because there's a lot of trades happening and you have to see what's going on in the puzzle. Alright, so if we fork his rook and his king, he moves his king because he can't take our bishop. He can't take our bishop. He could block with this rook, but in any case, it seems like we can just take his rook. So let's go through that again and see what all the exchanges were. Okay, so this was, we had a bishop, he had a knight, so equal material. Then we had a queen, and then he had a queen. We had a queen, he had a queen, equal material. And then here, check, we fork and win the rook. So we got up a full rook at the end of the line. And how many points did we need to win? He had one extra pawn, so we only needed 2 points to win, and we get a full rook. Okay, let's see if there's anything, just to make sure, is there anything he can do to stop this? So let's say he doesn't take back and he just runs away. Well, if he just runs away, we can just get his queen. So that doesn't look good. So if we go here, he has to take back. Then we check here. Again, if he doesn't run away, we get to keep our queen and we get another rook. So that doesn't look good. So he has to take the queen back. And then here, we just win a rook. So it doesn't seem like there's anything he can do. And in this puzzle, I know I was like looking at the other checks. You might be like, oh, you looked at these other checks and then you were like, oh, it just got taken. We move on. But this check, just got taken, but we didn't just move on. And the reason why we didn't just move on is because I saw this queen trade that could happen after the check. In these other checks, like where he just takes it, I didn't see anything going on in the position. So you kind of just have to look for other things you can do in the position. So yeah, one idea in these chess puzzles is the checking piece unveiling a discovery? So this is called a discovery, when the piece goes someplace and it makes it so your piece can now look at another piece. And so that's a common idea in puzzles. It doesn't just have to be a discovered check, it could just be a discovered attack. And this, it may not even look like a discovered attack because you're like, oh, but the queen's defended. But whenever there's an exchange of pieces, you have to look at that position as well to see if there's anything else you could do. It's like, yes, we exchange pieces, but then we have this check, and then we win the book. So yeah, this puzzle was definitely a puzzle for practicing visualizations. There were a lot of moves in it, but let's see if we got the right answer. Okay, and we got to 1200, and that is where we were going to stop at in this video. So I hope you learned from this video, and I will be making another video where I go from 1200 to 1400. All right, see you then.